Monday to everyone. On behalf of Illinois American Water, I welcome you. Thank you for being on today's webinar and for caring about your water service and water, a precious resource. We are excited about this partnership with the University of Illinois Extension on conservation. I'm excited about listening and learning. Thank you for being on. And with that, I'm introducing Peggy Doty from the Extension. Peggy.
Hi, everybody, and welcome and happy Earth Week. How perfect is this to kick off this 4-part webinar? I'm honored to be your first presenter out of 4 over this next year. And I must share that working with Illinois American Water has been amazing to meet a group of people who really do care about their customers and want them to be engaged and offer them even more information and partnering with us. It's been fantastic. And we only have a half an hour, so I hope you have a bite to eat. And yeah, I'm glad to be here. And let's see where we can go with water conservation today. There's my mouse. There we go. It's a slow switch. So many people, probably my age and older, not so much our youngers, will remember the term the blue marble. And it was that Apollo 17 astronauts that I wrote here about. They were caught off guard as they looked back at the Earth. This happened to be the last walk on the moon, believe it or not, that we in that time frame. And they just decided it looked like a small blue marble. This is not that picture. This is my actual, I'm 58 years old, but I do have an Earth Super Bowl. I do teach environmental education to mostly children in my defense. And in honor of Earth Week, I wanted to share this. Many people on the call remember this. The blue referred to the oceans and other waters that cover most of the surface. So why a webinar on water conservation with this much water on the blue marble? Well, sadly, the EPA has stated that 40 out of 50 state water managers expect a water shortage in their state in the coming years. And that adds a little bit of concern to our heart and makes us want to make sure that you know how much water is really available and why we need to conserve. So we have a fun little poll today for you to click on. It's not a test. It's for fun to see what you think is the percentage of the planet's water that's estimated to be easily accessible for use. So if you want to get in there and click some numbers, and we'll let it go until we see it slow down. Thank you for participating. A little bit of fun while you're nibbling lunch or just watching this webinar. Good job. Look at it coming in. Again, not a test. How much water can we grab easily without a lot of effort? Slowing down. All right. Excellent. Oop, got a little more coming in. You guys are like passing the test. You're at 90% participation. That's impressive. Good job. It's the middle of the day. We had snow up here in northern Illinois, so I know some of that water that's not accessible fell on my yard today. It will be accessible now that it's melting. Okay. So excellent. There's our results. I'm going to switch to, I think we're ready for our answers. Let's see what we have here. All right. I don't know if I can, there we go. Get that out of the way here. Tweak. All right, so check this out. What percent of the planet's water is estimated to be easily accessible for our use? And it should click again. There it is. So I highlighted 0.63% at any given moment. Now these are estimates, are available because we draw our water from freshwater lakes, from rivers and groundwater. And note the groundwater. Some of that is not accessible. It's too deep. So the reason we have concern, even though we are the blue marble, all right, is this. So according to the Bureau of Reclamation, that answer is 0.63. That would be the equivalent. If you want to put it into a kind of a thought you can process, think about a 5-gallon bucket or 5 1-gallon jugs of water. It's about a little over 8 tablespoons of that would be actually usable water. So when people hear, we have a little trouble with conservation action, because when people hear how the planet might be in a little bit of a predicament, or people are harming the planet, we feel bad. And when we can't solve something, we have a tendency to tune out. I teach a lot of children, and I try very hard not to make them feel responsible when they're too small to make a difference. They can't save the rainforest. They can learn about it and do good things at home to preserve energy, and in this case, water. So if we feel we can't fix it, that's a problem. When really, all it's about is each person doing their own part each day to the best of their ability, and to make conscious changes or pay attention. So what is our best? And that's where we're going to go. So after I throw that at you, that we have less than 1% of water we can use at any given time without huge amounts of money in desalination and all those things, there is a person I kept track of since 2012. And it's this gentleman, Gregory Norris. He was a lecturer, as you see, at Harvard, and he was featured in Time magazine in March of 2012, and he has a website called handprinter.org. So after his students were told to go home and figure out their LCA. LCA is a life calculation. It's an assessment, and it's really more about the carbon released over the entire life history of a someone or a something. And some of the students actually came back the next day and said they wish they'd never even been on the planet, because of what they realized, their life and the things they do and spend money on, and what the energy it takes to get there and the footprint that it makes. And he realized quickly we needed something tangible for them to understand that footprints aren't the whole picture. They're a significant measure, but it's not the whole picture. So he created handprints, a type of earth conservation credit for the good or positive actions that we do to benefit the planet. So today, to feel better, we're going to focus on our potential conservation handprints, maybe things you've already done and things you can do. So water conservation in review. We have heard this since the first Earth Day, when 1970, April 22nd, next Saturday is Earth Day, right? And we've heard these things about how we can save. Here we put it into some numbers for you. I got this from the EPA's Smarter Practices, how many gallons you could save if you turn off the water when you're brushing your teeth and shaving. They even figured out that 70% of our water usage is in the home. These amounts are general and would change, of course, with your type of faucet, your washers, and all your efforts, how many people. But so if you brush your teeth twice a day, according to this, and you shave 5 times a week, you would save 5,700 gallons of water per year if you turn the water off while you do those activities. So that's exciting. They can put some numbers to it, right? Then let's do a little review here. If you shorten your shower time by 1 or 2 minutes, you can save 700 gallons. Displace water in old toilets. Displace means basically to put something in there. I remember when this all first came out, parents were showing their kids, they were putting bricks in them, then the toilet tanks, jugs of water to take up space. The only problem with that was the toilets weren't made to flush well enough without the amount of water they use. They weren't designed that way. So people said, oh, this saving water thing's never going to work because nothing flushes down the toilet. So you can displace it, but if it isn't working right, that might not be the best road. And I'll talk to you more about don't throw what works. If your toilet is old still and you still have your hands on one of those, throwing it away is wasting the money it took to make it and the time it took to get it to you and the carbon footprint. So we do not want you to go assume you have to retrofit your house with all kinds of money to upgrade to water saving. What we're asking today is that you consider water saving appliances and fixtures when the time comes to renew, to fix something, to replace something rather. So full loads of laundry, for example, you can save like 52 loads a year if you just fill the machine. Now that doesn't mean the way my son fills a machine. There's filling it appropriately and packing it full and causing all kinds of trouble. So we need to be sure that we're doing it full according to the laundry recommendation that comes with your particular washer. All right, so earth power, shorten your shower. This is one of my big things. Water shaving shower heads. When you need a new shower head, look for the water saving ones. They put a lot more water through smaller holes and through specialization inside there. I'm not an engineer, but it forces the water out. And it's based on your water pressure. If your water pressure is not great, sometimes they don't work as well for, keeping you rinsed off, getting you rinsed off. But shower heads are good if you have enough water pressure and you actually, to begin with, the EPA says toilets and showers use 44% of the daily water in a household, followed by laundry with an additional 17%. I would say those of us who work outside the home could count our water usage at work as our own, not someone else's, because it's what you need when you use the restroom, washing your hands, etc. It's not necessarily someone else's, but an example. So you have these water saving HE washer. All right, they're high efficiency. HE is high efficiency, and it uses 20 to 66% less water than traditional washers. Less water equals less heat energy if you're using warm water. I now wash in strictly cold water. I did it. I tried it. I am happy. It's working. I just never thought cold water would do the work. And it does. And it has made, makes me feel better. I'm saving a little bit of the energy to heat the water. I have a friend, however, when we're talking about washers, she is also a naturalist like myself, an environmentally focused individual. And we were talking about this. I've been talking about this webinar for months with people. And Pam's choice is to wash her clothes left often, but to use an older style washer. She actually found a person who fixes old washers. He had one available. She bought it. Her goal is just to wash less often, unless your clothes get really dirty. And I have to admit, I've washed clothes because they were wrinkly. Not a good choice. Probably better to throw a damp rag in the dryer and get the wrinkles out, right? Than to rewash a clean pair of clothes or a clean pair of pants. The water heater uses less energy to heat your hot water, and the insulation on the pipes keep the heat longer without wasting as much water. So you can insulate your pipes so you're not reheating that water. Is that a way of conserving water? You're still using the same amount of water, but energy conservation is part of all forms of conservation. So we have to be aware of that as well. Here we go. We've come a long way. I am the daughter of a World War II vet. I don't know how many stories I heard about outhouses and how I would just the convenience. And I grew up feeling pretty privileged that I had a bathroom in the house because I heard so many stories about not having one. So the interesting thing, I put this here, I spent some time with a friend who wasn't well in a hospital, and I was there a lot with her. I was her person to be there, and to make sure we hear everything. And I was using the bathrooms there, and they're all these energy efficient. Notice the green, I don't know, the green flush is, green was interesting to me. And it took me for a while. These are called no flow, right? So we went from no flow in an outhouse to too much flow. And now we have to pick low flow. And they put the sticker on here. Finally, I figured it out, after a week, that they put the sticker on wrong because it was a low flush up and a low flush down, which basically it means if you're throwing a lot of stuff in the toilet, do a big flush, which was the 2-drop. It's on the back of the sticker though. So you have to have the stickers on correctly. I spent way too much time thinking about it, but in the end, the smaller flush, if it truly is less water, it worked no matter what. So I think it's let's get efficient toilets, have them do their job without having to think about it. I think that's our safest bet. So most likely household item to waste the most water. Oh my goodness. Why? Oh, here it is. Maybe you guys said it out loud. Why? Because a leak doesn't seem like a big deal. It is visually a small amount of water, and it takes tools and planning or a call to the plumber to come on a day that fits in your schedule. And it's just a lot. And it's easy to go, it's just a drip, right? But what if it's hot water? Hot water would be a double loss, right? So the EP estimates, and this is an estimation of all the potential slow leaks at the house, right? It has the potential to waste 10,000 gallons of water a year. And I love how they put it always into laundry loads. We all understand laundry, right? So up to 270 loads. And we'll share with you the American Water Conservation website at the end of our presentation. They have a water calculator in there. You can calculate and you can identify leaks by using a calculator as well. So you'll be able to shift over to that at the end of our presentation here. right? So there's a drip. The drip is the big problem. So get this. While I was in the hospital, and my friend who was in there was actually a soil and water conservation person. And I'm going to, hopefully this works. Drip, watch that. That is 20 ounces of water in 15 minutes. Notice some of it splashed out. This is the shower in her hospital room. It was so annoying, and we told people it had to be fixed, but I know they're busy. We shut the door. So we're supposed to be talking about saving water. So we had this conversation about this webinar. So her shower in her room was leaking like this the entire 10-day stay. We finally decided to figure out the water loss. So we put this cup, which was one of the ice cups that she had, and it was so frustrating. And that's what we got. 80 ounces would have been in an hour, 15 gallons in a day, and the 10-day stay. But look down below. If all 159 hospital rooms leaked at this rate, the loss per day for that little drip, 2,385 gallons. It kind of puts it in perspective, doesn't it? So leaks, which I know is one of Illinois American Water's focuses as well. Let's keep those leaks under control and plan. So how am I planning? Well, now you get a look into the world of my sink. Apologies, but that's a leak on that faucet. But see what I did? I just push it a little offside and it works. It is the cold water, not the hot. So what's my plan? I need the part replacement for this. It is the cold. I will shut it off under the sink if this little trick doesn't work, but I am not going to change that faucet until I need to, because again, it's a waste of what it took to make, ship, install, and have that faucet. So am I conserving water? Yes, as long as I can control that little drip, but I'm watching it. It is not a name brand faucet, however, so I may have trouble finding the part, but I'm committing to trying to find the part. All right. So, and I'm showing you guys this because I'm not being a hypocrite. We all need to do this, including me. So what could your water handprint look like? What could we do? What could we think about? That's easy. I don't have time for hard, right? So let's think about some easy stuff. Excess bubbles. We've learned since we were children, bubbles are awesome. We play in bubbles. Let's make more bubbles, right? But technically, if you have a ton of bubbles, you've wasted a lot of your soap, which wastes the water in the soap and wastes this effort to truck it to your space, to your store. So how do we save money in our grocery bill? When we use less soap, we buy less soap, right? Hand pumps, flexible plastic, laundry detergent lids are huge. And our own more is better thought pattern when it comes to cleaning, it's who we are as humans. And it works against us when it comes to water quality, also part of water conservation, and our wallets at the same time. So example, pump shampoos and soaps, toothpaste need only a pea size. You only need a tiny bit. But what happens is when you have those pumps is you're like, I need to push it down to the bottom. No, that's how how we use too much and we buy more way before we need to. I would say with anything you use to put a pea size, not like the carton on the toothpaste that has a big, gorgeous, fancy swirl, right? A big S shape. That's a waste. Start with a pea size. Do what you need to do. Brush your teeth, wash your hands, whatever it is. Need a little more, get a little more, right? But don't just do whatever the bottle allows you to do. I have a really bad habit. I've noticed it since preparing for this webinar. When I am in a public restroom and I get those little hand dispensers, I have this weird 1, 2, 3 pattern. It's like I'm afraid to be jinxed. So I'm like, pump, pump, pump. I'm like, wait a minute. I didn't even know I was doing that. So now I have to consciously push it one time and wash my hands with what I have. So what can you do? What are you doing every day that you could reduce or start with less and build up to find out what you really need? And I think we'd all save some money because soaps are expensive. My laundry detergent, those HE washers take less than a tablespoon of soap, and yet the lids are so big and easy to fill, right? All right, let's keep moving. The surfactants don't work. Don't do the work the water does. Surfactant properties. Soap is a surfactant, meaning it affects water at the surface. The molecules of surfactant, and this is a little bit of science for you today, they're hydrophobic. All right. If you're hydrophobic, you're afraid, right? You don't like water. They're water repelling. They have an end that's hydrophobic and one that's hydrophilic. Ooh, that end loves the water, right? So the phobic end goes up to the air while the philic end goes down. You have the philic going down. And then that makes a new film. It breaks the water tension. Water needs to not love itself so much in order to do the job. So it takes away the water cohesive forces between the molecules. So the soap properties disrupts the water cohesion, and the water molecules allow to soak into your clothes that way and soak into the food stuck on your dishes. It may take a while. Soak the dishes a little longer. You don't have to use really hot water. You can't get that water hot enough in your sink to kill bacteria. That could happen maybe in your dishwasher, right? But it's not going to happen in your sink. So don't overuse the hot water just to soak. The water will do its job with a little bit of soap on board, right? So hard water, you might have to use a little more soap. You can always add soap, but water's the number one solvent. As I put on here, soap is the trainer, but water's our athlete, right? So see if you can do dishes with a little less bubbles and see if you can try it. See what happens, right? Water quality, I said it's important to conservation. Notice they all start with less. Start with a little, work your way up. We could save a lot of money. And when we use less, we buy it less often and slow the waste. Another part of this is how much goes to recycling or to the landfill, right? You can do one thing by using a little bit less and solve a whole bunch of problems for the world and be a hero, a handprint hero. All right, here's a couple ideas. Bar soap, you see it? Whatever happened to bar soap? Bar soap is what we grew up on. Well, some of us, right? So bar soap, if you switch it, it only comes in a carton. That carton can be composted in your composter or recycled. And don't flush every little piece of, like, if you take a piece of toilet paper because there's, hair on the sink or something, you throw it in the toilet versus the trash. Don't flush that whole bunch of water just for something little. And shower timers. I don't like water. I literally shower in 3.5 minutes or less. I joke that I have a 17-minute from bed to out the door if I need it, to even look halfway decent, even I can do that. But better yet, they have these little hourglass shower suction cups you can put in your shower. I think if you really want to fight yourself, get a kitchen timer or on your phone, set the timer, set it over on the vanity where you can't reach it. I don't want you falling out of the bathroom trying to turn off the timer. It will sit there and ring and remind you to hustle up. And you know what? In the end, you might beat the timer, and that would be a win. All right. So something to think about. We're getting through these. So I added these because that is my soap dish on the right. And that is, I figured it was clear, wash your hands. I use rocks because I don't like the water to soak into the soap. And it's just a piece of pottery, hand-me-down pottery. That is my bathroom soap dish. I like my soap dish. And if I have to stay at hotels and I use the soap bar and I know they're going to throw it away, I bring it home and throw it in my soap dish. So I always use it. I don't throw it away. The thing on the left, you see, I do enjoy the comfort of using Ziploc bags, but they're very, 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 plastic and not the best thing. However, even though they say they're disposable, you can reuse these over and over. And I wash them with my dishes. I usually put them in early along with my glasses because there is an order to washing dishes we won't go into today. So I wash them early, and I actually put a brown ribbon across my window with little clips. And by the next day, they are actually air dried. I can fold them back up and reuse them over and over and over, saving transportation energy, saving water that takes to make them, and using just my dishwater to get them clean. I think it works pretty handy. Another thing that running the water a little slower. I've noticed, again, I've been planning for this, thinking about every single time I've been burdened with this water thing. And I realized when I wash my face every night, I cup my hands, I turn on the warm and the cold. It was running pretty high. And yet I was still in the same pattern of fill my hands, wash my face. So when I'm putting it on my face, I'm losing that much more water. So I've slowed that water down by over half. I fill my hands, quickly rinse, fill my hands, quickly rinse. So yes, it's still running, but I'm not wasting all that excessive amount of water as I'm doing this. See, I'm trying to show you things that I learned and I'm willing to do as well. A 3.5 minute shower. I also switched to laundry detergent sheets. I've used them for the past year. I love them. I don't like carrying those heavy jugs. I don't like the sliminess of the soap in my washer. These things have been great. There's many different brands. I cannot share with you the brand. You have to go searching yourself. It will be nice when they're on the shelf and not just online. So I use those and I've been extremely happy. I get a packet of those and I can get 60 loads out of that. And then the paper goes out into my composter. No more toothpaste tubes. Think about everybody throwing away all those toothpaste tubes. I now get a brand I can order and I refill my little jar. And so if you travel by air and you can't have liquids and stuff, these are little chewy. They're just, you chew them up, and while you're chewing them, you brush, and the brush is actually made out of bamboo and plant fibers. So there's no plastic. That goes in my composter when I wear it out. And I can even just replace the top half if I wanted to. So, you know, it worked. It's stuck. I'm doing things that I'm sticking with until, and then I'll pick my next one. Make saving water easy. Research has shown that is, if you just get it in place and it happens automatically, that's the best way. So if these are in place, you go about your day. If we have a positive goal in mind, that we can take these small manageable steps toward, feeling good, our handprint, and are more likely to keep going, then it's not step by step, it's step by hand. And you too can make these differences. So what am I willing to do? I can't be a hypocrite here. I will commit to preparing to fix my kitchen faucet and know what I'm going to do. I will use less paper towels. I have pets. I have to admit, I am a paper towel user. I tore one in half the other day again while planning for this webinar. Don't use 5 paper towels when half of 1/4 of a sheet will do, right? Consider the chemicals in your products and plan and start learning about what you need to have in your home, on your body. Anything that's pretty colored or perfumed, those are extra chemicals. We don't need those. And you can make a difference by, passing that water has to be cleaned. Your water has to be cleaned by somebody. And so the less you put there to clean, the healthier it is when it goes back into our fresh water that we need to use again, right? I'm going to up my compost game, and I'm going to compost more in the winter. That's a whole nother session on vermicomposting we don't have time for today. So I just wanted you to see what could be done, what I plan to do, so that I'm not being a hypocrite. And after all, we're getting a free trip around the sun each year, you guys. What are we willing? I'm willing to do and to make some changes in return for that ticket, right? So thank you for hanging in there with me. I'm just about 1 minute to the end. Gives me time to share. And we have our little poll here, and we'd love for you. I'm aiming for, we have 49 people, 48 still on. Let's do 100%. Let's do 100%. What do you think? Choose all that apply. Are you going to use an idea? Are you going to address leaks quickly? That's me. I got to do the leak thing, right? Yeah. Oh, look at you guys. You're aiming. You're up there. You're going. I'm so excited that you guys are participating. You're making my whole Earth Week. What a way to kick it off. Look at them go. 30. You've got this. Somebody's got a sandwich in their hand, maybe still, and they're trying to get the chip grease off their finger to poke the buttons here. Awesome. Thank you. This is fantastic. And if you don't know how, or you're unsure, that's okay. Sometimes these computer things, getting on is the big thing, right? Getting on there for is about what we have. Nice. We're going to capture that so we know. Thank you. I will personally just thank you for not clicking not likely to use this information. That helps my heart on Earth Week. And it helps my 4 month of planning, or whatever it's been, making this webinar for all of you. And I'm sure American Water is pleased that they've offered. We do have some things coming up here. Awesome. All right. Thank you so much, everybody. And as you can see on the slide, for more information about wise water use on the American Water site, it's a lovely site. It's eye-friendly, easy to follow. You can use the QR code, or you can put in your URL on your computer, illinoisamericanwater.com, and look for the wise water use. And note too that our next webinar in the series will be July 17th. I know it's going to be a little ways away, so make a note that you'll be able to register that. It'll come out from American Water when it's time. And that's going to be the other 30% of your home water use and outdoor. And it's perfect timing because there are things you can do to save water and conserve water. And everyone, I would like to thank you so much for being here today, and turn it back over to whomever else I need to. Right. I think we're golden. Thanks everyone for joining us, and hope to see you again in July.
Thank you, everyone, for joining us today. You will be receiving a link to the recording of this webinar when it is posted to our YouTube page. There also is a follow-up evaluation, which would be super helpful if you would be so kind to fill that out for us. And that information will also be posted in the link. And of course, you see the Illinois American Water Wise Water Use link here. Thank you very much, and we hope to see you July 17th. Thank you.